Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time we're going to take a look at Carlton Comics, Fightin Navy, number 127. Now, this book is from 1983, but the contents are reprints from 1964. And then, of course, this is all involving World War II stories, Navy stories. Navy stories. I was in the Navy. My brother was in the Navy. I got a stepbrother that was in the Navy. And my dad was in the Navy in World War II. And my stepdad, he was in the Army, but he had a transport ship sunk out from underneath him in the South Pacific. Taken out by a kamikaze. So that's my bona fides. And my dad was on the USS Iowa. And the late Senator John McCain, his father was the captain of my dad's ship when he first went aboard, way back when. And standing on the deck of that ship, he witnessed the surrender, the Japanese surrender in Tokyo Bay. So there we go. It's his biggest claim to witnessing history. Now, in this book, it's as most war stories, war comics were, is an anthology of various stories. Now, I take it these stories are mostly, if not entirely, based on actual events. Even though the characters, they barely have characters in here who may be fictitious, but put in these positions, and the stories are very abbreviated. Very abbreviated. They've actually got more stories. I mean, each one of these stories could have been done as a decent comic length story, but it's so abbreviated. You're not getting much in the way of details or characterization. And this is cover for a story. I don't know who did the cover. There's no credits. So I don't know who did the art or the writing in any of these stories except for one that I have reason to believe. Although I do recognize the artwork, I don't know who did it because I recognize the styles from other sources. So we're going to start off here. The Hero of Midway. Yeah, this is some nice work here. In the Battle of Midway. Ooh. And I think they did some lot of research, at least some research, in the battle of here. And the battle is as it's being engaged, coming into contact, the two fleets coming at the island of Midway. And this was what was it? 1942 was it? Yes, June 3rd, 1942. PBY flying there, and they talk about this Lieutenant Jeffries, I think his name was. He's a pilot of I think it's a Dauntless fighter bomber, and they're engaged in the battle, air battle over the ships as the ships are getting closer to engaging. Some really nice nice draftsmanship here. You know, because it's over such a period of time, it's hard to tell, you know, what specifically is happening so close. But here, this lieutenant, this pilot, and he drops his bombs, boom, and you know, a direct hit on this one flat top, Jeffers, that was his name, and hit the ship Soryu, the aircraft carrier. Kablooey! Took out that one. Oh, they're still fighting off attack ships, attacking fighters. That's what I'm trying to think of. And then they get and another engagement after getting back to that, because he's from the Enterprise. He was on the Enterprise, and he gets rearmed and reloaded and takes out again, and they managed to take out. See here, if it says what the. I didn't see the name of the ship there, but they take out another ship. So, and then here's here: the real hero of Midway was an aircraft, the SBD Dauntless dive bomber, piloted by Navy pilots who rose to the urgent needs at the moment. And that was one that an aircraft that took two men, one pilot and I think he was a navigator gunner in the back, and dive bomber, and it was known as what was it, Scream of Death or something? I've forgotten what it was, because on their flaps they've got these. My wife is a big aviation nut, and she's told me some of this stuff. If you can make it out here, they've got all these little holes in the flaps, and when they dive, it creates a horrible whistling sound. Okay, then the second ship, the second story, Ghost Finder, and this is about the smaller ship. This is German battleship. And now I can't find the name of it. Volksbacher, I think is what they said it was, and it is comes out of hiding and just lays waste to convoys, shipping convoys going to England with supplies and material and troops as well, and it just decimates these convoys, and then slips back into hiding from somewhere. And this USS Benchley, just a smaller destroyer. And they go head to head, and damages that German ship, so it has to put back, but it's not severe damage, and they take damage themselves. They pull in. Had some really nice artwork here, especially the depiction of these officers who, and it looks like they were based on photos of the actual people. And so both ships are severely damaged. Well, the American ship is more severely damaged. They both fall back, and in 2 weeks the Benchley is back in fighting trim. But they come up with an idea, because the captain happened to have been a fisherman or on fishing boats in that area, and figures out where this ship is hiding from, because there are several uncharted islands, and there are some older whaling supply and repair stations out there, and they think the Germans are using those. So the captain and his ship, the Benchley, they go back, and they're caught in a squall here. And just as that German ship is pulling out, they're right there waiting for them. They can spot one another, but the American ship is faster and has better radar, and they start whamming it against their armored hull with torpedoes. They get hit with 7 torpedoes, but it doesn't penetrate their armor, but does damage the ship. Then they get in close enough, and they just whale on that sucker with their 5-inch guns, and in no time on the superstructure and the bridge, and in no time that ship is going down, and they get survivor. The captain says, "Well done, sailors. We finally got the Ghost of the North." And that was a good, interesting story. Then here's No Chance. Now, realizing that this is a story taking place in the 40s, written in the 60s, it has some bad. I'm not going to use it, but it has some bad racial language here. This is the Avenger, which is getting they got lost. The pilot and his crew, they've gotten lost from their own people, and are taking a lot of damage from Japanese air fire. This is over the South China Seas, and they run out of fuel and ammunition and have to ditch. And they're near a Chinese junk. They ditch the plane, and then get picked up by the Chinese, who are supposed to be allies. Remember, this is in World War II. They're supposed to be their allies. And they take them aboard, but said they may have, those Japanese planes may have had contact with their people, and they may come. So the American airmen are concerned because the captain of this junk is not going to get caught with rescuing American airmen. And then here comes a Japanese plane come by, and it doesn't even try to stop and board that ship. It just starts shooting away at them. Well, the Americans, they get their guns there, and they manage to shoot that plane down. But they're suspicious of the captain and crew of this junk, because they attack them because they think they're going to throw them over the side, which they very trying to capture them, so that they're rushing, trying to get the boat to where they know is an American air base. And they get there just in time, and it turns out they get saved. Turns out that there was a good reason for them to be suspicious, because these were some bad Chinese people. Turns out that they had been pulling downed flyers out of the water and selling them to the Japanese. So they took out some Japanese. They rescued themselves and took out this extra threat. Now we go to Operation Cork. These are UDT. They're the forerunners of the SEALs, underwater demolition teams, frogmen, and they were working, starting off with this little story, trying to clear the way at Normandy for the Norman invasion on June 6th, 1944. Then they go off to another brief mission, just up a little farther north to a German base, and they're guiding in these man-guided torpedoes and past the mines, and they use that through this channel, and sink a German ship in the channel with the torpedo, so that no one can get in or out. Then they have submarine pens in that channel, and they take out one submarine, which right next to another one, and the others all go up too. Then they've got one torpedo left, because it's a three-man team, and they see a prime target. They send their torpedo towards the pier, right up the boat ramp and into the the headquarters, into the German headquarters. Then they get volunteered for another mission. And I wanted to mention here, the artwork in this story, it looks like it's some early Dick Giordano work. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. This is the only artist I can identify, if I'm correct. At the very least, he did the inking, if not the pencils. Well, in this story, they're going to shot out the torpedo tube of a submarine on this mission. Move some mines so that the mines take out their own ships, and then they go on the shore, taking out telegraph and telephone lines. These are Germans. This is in Europe, and but they're supposed to take out a bridge, but before they can even take out the bridge, the Army Air Corps have taken out the bridge. Then they go to the partisans, the French underground, takes care of them, and they're real happy to stay with these French for a while. In fact, one of the guys falls in love with the daughter of the lady who's hosting them, and they're planning on getting married. So that's it. See, all of those stories, there was 6 or 8 page stories, and each story would have been better served at a full length issue story. Well, and I seldom get the Navy comics, so this is a real treat for me, being a Navy man, and I just wish it had more submarines in it. And but the writing could have been done better. Had a better written, shorter story, or fleshed out each story in a longer story. So you get some characterization and more, because there was just event after event after event, jumping with no characterization and stuff. But it's still an enjoyable read. So that's what I've got for you this time. Fightin Navy, number 127, Carlton Comics, 1983, reprinting 1964. So thank you for joining me. Like, share, and subscribe. Do you like the war comics, as I do? Let me know. What war comics do you like? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.